Ooh, 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 ooh,
Hello, hello.
We are live. Here it is.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see you. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Kyler. Good to have you guys.
Got a little technical thing happening. All right. So super excited to jump right in. We have a wonderful guest with us, a beautiful friend. I would say a sister from over a decade ago. God brought her into our life, and we're actually getting to work on this project together a little bit. And so right off the top, we want to start off with a little bit of sort of housekeeping kind of elements. So Kyler, why don't you kick us off with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things that we wanted to kind of bring up here at the beginning, Catherine did a really great job of saying it in such a friendly way, and maybe I should try to say it like Catherine. And so we have a lot of people that have been invited to join the David a King's Calling group, which is amazing. We are so thankful for that. But we have thousands of people that have been invited that have not responded to the invitation. We think that this could be due to the fact that they received the invitation, but they didn't know what the page was. And so something that can be very helpful is if you are to reach out to some of those people that you've invited from your Facebook friends list, or even could be better. We've seen that people have responded pretty well to this. If you send a quick text message to people and you say, hey, the David of King's Calling Facebook group is going live tonight. They have a really cool guest. We're going to get to talk about worship. We're going to get to talk about music tonight. And we're going to get to hear a really incredible performance. And so if you want to take just a second up top and send some text messages to some friends, let them know kind of what's going on, that gives that little personal push that says it's not just some random, hey, join Ed's barbecue group, right? You guys know how we've all received 460 of those on Facebook, and you go, I don't know what that is. I'm not accepting this invite. I don't like barbecue. Gives me the bubble guts.
Ed's barbecue. And you know Ed makes some incredible barbecue. Listen,
barbecue.
don't start bashing on Ed right off the top of this. Ed's barbecue is out there. He's going to front us probably like $20K just for that spot. You know what I mean?
We're actually sponsored by Ed's Barbecue Barn. So
by Ed's Barbecue Barn. That's great. Speaking of sponsorship, I just want to share really quickly where we're at, kind of talk a little bit about it. Okay, so we have just about $1,500 that has been donated so far. And guys, let me say this right off the top. We're not discouraged by that number. That is a wonderful number. For where we're at and what we're really trying to do right now in the campaign, a lot of what we're trying to do is build relationships and connections. And so you'll see right here on the side, there's as people give, they'll have something that they'll say. If you want to comment and just say, hey, thank you so much for giving towards this project. If you want to share this page, you can do so. Very easy to share. You can share the fundraiser right there in the top right, as well as you can share the YouTube link, those kinds of things. A couple of things that we want to kind of speak to just very quickly, and then we'll jump right in with our guests. One of the things that folks in the entertainment business are really looking for is, can Twin Bolt Media generate enough of an audience for this project? And so what they're really watching for is, okay, how many people are on the page talking? How many people are donating? And these donations do not have to be $1,000, $50,000. Even if it's a $20 donation, that goes a long way to show that we're garnishing a lot of different support from a diverse audience from lots of different areas. And so we just ask you, if you are interested at all in a faith-based project, in something that you know you can sit down with your family and watch together, you know that the creators are interested in bringing the Bible to life in an inspired way that worships Jesus, that honors God, that honors the Bible, this would be a project that you would want to share or talk to folks about. We're heavily inspired by projects such as The Chosen. We really want to do our own twist. We kind of want to create our own thing. We've gotten a lot of feedback from folks that are like, this is a little bit different. And that's good. We're okay with different. We want to be inspired in the way that we do it. And so we just ask, if you are at all interested in this project, that you would, as Kyler mentioned, share it to somebody, make a small donation if that's possible.
Yep.
And just follow along in these live streams, like, share, subscribe.
Yep. And so to continue on that note, just to say this, one of the things that some of the bigger ups in the industries are paying attention to is, okay, they have 700 people in the page, but they only have 7 people that have donated. It's not that it's necessarily that we need everybody to donate hundreds of dollars, but they are looking to see, okay, if they have 700 people, but only 7 donate, then you're looking at 1% engagement. And so even, and I mean this genuinely, even if you're just donating $1, $5, if you have that to be able to contribute to our campaign, it looks very, very good for us to have a higher number of people joining in and supporting us, even than it does if we had 2 people that gave us 100,000. We really want to see that number climb, and we want to see that number show that there's a larger audience representation that's willing to support what we're doing. And I think what we have tonight is going to make yet another case for why this project needs to be made. And so, Caleb.
I just want to give a shout out to Caleb Washington that says, I love Eds. Caleb, I love you, brother. Caleb was one of the Egyptian guards in our short film, The 10th. And so,
and also his daughter,
wife, makeup artist, his daughter. Yes, go ahead, Kyler.
His daughter was the baby, the beautiful baby in our short film. And so he came through. He's always been supporting. Happy to support you guys. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Gene. Made it here for now. Steve, thank you so much. We are so excited to have you on Friday. We will have the Steve Sherman on to talk about him playing the huge role of Samuel. Caleb, did you want to hit that other thing, or did you want to move straight into kind of talking?
Yeah, I think I want to invite our guest in. I'm very excited about this. Our sister and friend Kristen Bryant is with us tonight, and we are so lucky to have her. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you. The brothers cook. Happy to be here.
The brothers cook. One of the only people in our life who says that, and I mean, I say this so affectionately. Brothers cook means more to Kyler and I than I think anything else in the world that people call us. People call us a lot of things, I'll be honest. but brothers cook is one of my favorite. And I just want to say, Kristen, tonight we get to share a song that you wrote for this project years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. We reached out. We're interested in writing and producing this television pilot based off of the life of David. Turns out you're kind of a David fan. Yeah.
Big time.
What'd you say?
Big time fan. Yes.
What'd you say? And so we started kind of just back and forth working a little bit, and you helped us out with our short film project, The 10th, with some content. And man, it has been an honor and a joy to have you sort of be a part of this project. And I think in a really inspired and wonderful way, you yourself are a worship leader. And I think the story of David, it sort of begins and ends with this element of worship, just sort of submitting yourself before the Lord to just bring him glory. We are so lucky to have you on tonight. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you all for having me. It's a double entendre, of course. The brothers cook. It's your name, but y'all also cooking. That's why this whole thing is coming together. So it's exciting that I got to be invited to add a little seasoning to the flavor or whatever. But yes, I am a disciple. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a writer. I've been singing for a long time, and just grew up in a home. My mother loved music, has a gorgeous voice, listened to all sorts of things. Grew up sitting in choir rehearsal with her, listening, and just feeling a very strong connection between music and God always. And so I think it's part of the reason why I've always loved David. And there's this guy, I grew up in a small town that you would say in the middle of nowhere. And here's this guy in the pasture, with the sheep, just singing his heart out, and I'm like, I feel that. I feel that. And so I've enjoyed lots of opportunities to get to lead worship and to enjoy different kinds of music. But man, both writing and performing, but worship music is just like nothing else. And singing and being with God is kind of like nothing else. So to get to do that and to get to talk about David's heart and God is just, it was very fun for me. Really cool.
So Sherry is asking, do we get a taste? I don't know if that is in reference to the flavor that you were talking about earlier that the Cook brothers bring, or if that is a performance. We do have a video that you shared with us ahead of time. And so why don't we front load, just kind of walk us through this song, what we believe is going to be kind of the theme song of David, A King's Calling.
Sure. So you guys shared some things with me, and we're talking about David and just this whole idea of God looking at the heart, very familiar verse, but man looks at the outer appearance, but God looks on the heart. And I think I was just thinking about this whole idea of what isn't seen by man, but God seeing everything and knowing us completely. And that's what really matters. And you look at David's whole life, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. Definitely something that needs to be on TV. But with all of it, it's like, man, God knew all of that and still called him. And I think it's good for David, and it was a good reminder for me. So I think my approach to the song was kind of macro and then micro, God at the beginning, looking at everything and knowing everything, and then zooming in on David. It's kind of like that for us. There's God of the universe, but then for each of us, he sees what's going on and knows us intimately. So that's, I guess, kind of the song.
Let's jump right in. Everyone, for the first time, this is Look on the Heart by Kristen Bryant.
Ooh, 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 ooh. My spirit hovered over the face of the deep in the beginning, when it was just us three. My spirit moved at the moment you were made, deep in the womb's secret shade. I knew the sum of all your days. Men sees appearance and frame, but I know who honors my name. I look on the heart. It's my joy to make a king of a shepherd boy when no one else can see. You chase after me with all you are. You're my choice. I look on the heart. Ooh, ooh. Your boast, and when it matters the most, you find the shadow of my wings. To me you run when you fail after you've tried, when you confess and do not hide. bottle up each tear you've cried. Men sees mere deeds and actions, but I know each heart's motivations. Ooh, I look on the heart. It's my joy to make a king of a shepherd boy when no one else can see. You chase after me with all you are. You're my choice. I look on the heart. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Nothing's hidden from my eye. A lowly heart I won't despise. From pasture to a prince now rise, that all might see that it's all for my glory. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. I look on the heart. It's my joy to make a king of a shepherd boy when no one else can see. You chase after me with all you are. You're my choice. I look on the heart. Ooh, 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 ooh,
All right. Don't treat her any different, okay? She's the same person that was here 5 minutes ago. Everyone calm down.
Goodness.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
What's the thing, Caleb? But be honest.
I'll be honest. You know, I think that when we talk about a worshiper's heart, it's someone that is willing to not hide. It's someone who is willing to say, and this is how God created me. This is how he crafted me in my mother's womb. He chose me. He sought me. He made me to be the person that I am today. And maybe we don't fit the molds or the model of what others might expect us to be. But as long as we are following, I think, Jesus calling after our heart and saying, come do this thing, do this with me, that's the exact place we have to be. And as I listen to that song, which has been on repeat, I've listened to it 1,000 times.
1,000 plus.
This has been, 2 years you have had this song written, and I've had it on Google Drive and just listen to this song. And I think the cool thing about it is I sense and I believe the words when you sing them. I believe what you're saying, you crafted as an expression of your heart as well. And it's beautiful and interesting to see so much overlap in what I think is this artist's heart, this person who's just desiring to be close with God, just move on me, impact me, give me direction. I see David in that. I see you in that. And, walk us through how you did that. The creative inspiration, the time it took. I mean, how long did it take you to even write a song like that?
2 seconds. Jesus did it.
Jesus did it. Okay. Well, thanks for coming, Kristen. I guess we'll just
Oh boy.
Oh,
No, be honest.
goodness. I won't say 2 seconds, but I think um Kyler, you shared something that you'd written with me, on the David project. And then there's a lot to David, right? But y'all gave me the text of the look on the heart. And so I think kind of how God speaks to me through songwriting, I will read something, like the text, and then chew on it. Like I won't start writing a song then, but later things will start coming to mind and just kind of pouring out. So I almost feel like I'm taking dictation to a certain degree, where it's like, look on the heart, huh? And I think I heard the first, my spirit hovered over the face of the deep in the beginning. And I'm like, wait, Lord, this song is supposed to be about David. Like, what's happening? And it was just this, no, it was just this like, no, I am ever present and I'm omniscient and I'm all knowing. And before something is anything, I see it and feel, and that's like where we start at conception. And from there, God decides who we will be and what we will be and how we'll be wired. And so I was like, okay, I'm writing, I'm taking notes. The other thing I think was cool from the beginning when I heard that, it was like, oh, wow, this is in the first person. And writing worship songs and other kind of music, we sing a lot of songs to God. Yes. Or growing up, coming from the gospel tradition, we sing about God, we testify about God, we boast in God's power, and I love all of that. But it was very different for me to get to write something from, it feels like, God's voice, because he says, I look on the heart, and I'm like, oh, wow, like God's voice, like there's a different kind of sobriety, I guess, that I felt, and in saying, okay, I'm hearing you speak, like you're talking about David, but what's God's heart, So I think it was cool for me to kind of feel God's heart about David, and then I guess also about us, to be able to say he sees us and knows us completely. David and Goliath, David and Bathsheba, he sees our sin, he sees our flaws, but then he also loves us completely and still chooses us, and those things don't discount us. But God uses everything, even our junk. And of David, some of his worst stuff gives us some of the most beautiful prayers of repentance, which is how we get back to God after we make a mess. Right. And we need that. And so it was cool for me to kind of feel like Father was just leading me through so much of that, and honestly saying, and I want you, just because I've chosen to set my love upon you. And it's like, man, I don't have to worry about losing that or feeling like I have to be good enough to earn that. And just, it was really cool to get to feel that. You guys were chatting last week some too on the live stream about Prince of Egypt, which I also absolutely love.
Get out of here!
Of course, come on, we're family. But I think there is an element of like some of the song, and I love that project, because you got like, there were, y'all probably remember, but 2 different musical projects. So there's like a CCM type project, and then there was another. There was gospel, there was CCM, there was all of it. And I'm definitely from the Celine, Whitney, Mariah era, Diane Warren, big ballad type, epic type stuff, but also that has these kind of quiet, tender spaces and moments too. And so I think some of that it's like, it's David, it's God talking to David. He's the king, but then you also get the field. And so I was hoping that it would feel like there was room for both. He had his mountaintop times, and he definitely had his times in the cave and crying his eyes out, and and so that there would be room and breadth for all those kinds of things in there.
I think just speaking to that, I think that there's a lot of ways that I see this song sort of playing into. There's like this sort of intro to the show moment. There's like, a minute and a half where it goes through and it kind of shows you these images. And we've got these different images, some of which we've shown, of like a crown that's crumbling and falling and catching fire, and sort of these very very like ethereal images of things that are going to play out over the season, like a tree with a wolf that's been carved into the face of the tree, and these kinds of things. And we're seeing these images as we're hearing this sort of, this humming that comes in. And you did another version for us early on where you kind of doubled up your voice and sounded like a kind of a choir coming in. And it's just that, and I think that there are 1,000 different ways you can use that in a single episode, and to kind of like create this sort of theme that everybody knows, okay, something big's about to happen, or oh, okay, we're hitting a minor here, there's something interesting, let me lean forward and kind of focus on this. And it really feels like that song has so many different elements to offer if sung even by our actors, sort of in worship, them coming together before they get ready to sing, that they would be humming, that melody. And I found it's very catchy for me. I mean, if you all are at all interested, at the end of the live stream, we'll play it again for you one more time. You can invite some friends and family to come check it out beforehand. Send them a link to the live stream. We will play it one more time. I want to give plenty of time to answer and ask questions, but I want to jump into a little bit, Kristen, of 12 years ago. I think we witnessed you lead a set of worship, and then you came down off the stage, and we just walked up to you, and I'll never forget, you and your sister walked up to me and my brother, and we had a conversation. And I mean, when I say I was bawling, laughing, I was crying, I just remember thinking, like, okay, there's no two more beautiful, wonderful people that live on this planet than these women. And we connected in such a way, and the laughter, and it's like everything that we let's run it back. Winston wants to run it back. Okay, that's right. Okay, we're gonna do that again at the end of the live stream. Invite some folks to come on. We'll play it again. If we got 100 viewers, we'll play it again. How about that? All right. So if we quadruple out, no, I'm kidding. But I just want to speak to this moment where there was just, I feel like there was something that happened that said, hey, like whatever I can do to be a benefit to your family and you to ours. And I will never also forget another story that I love to tell is it's one of my favorites. She knows where I'm going. So Kyler and I are identical twins. Kristen didn't know that real early on. She knew my wife, my girlfriend at the time, but saw Kyler's girlfriend at the time come in. And of course, we were sitting next to each other. We were talking. I like to be nice to future family, but Kristen saw this, and man, was Kristen upset. Ooh, she was like, oh, Caleb's got his arm around another woman. What's going on here? Like, we're about to take the Lord's communion, and here he is. Like, no, not on Sarah. She was not going to have that. And I mean, I just legitimately, I tell that story as often as I can when talking about Kyler. We're identical twins. People really thought we were the same person. So our church that we were going to at the time is like 1,300 people. There's a lot of people. So getting around, meeting everybody. But I just love that you had that fierce sort of motherly instinct for my wife.
Oh, yeah. Sarah's my girl. We had hung out. She could run and talk. I think, I was supposed to be singing at y'all's wedding. Or maybe.
Yes, you did.
Right,
you sang at our wedding.
And so I was like, the lights are now, in my defense, the lights were kind of down low because it was communion, it's that apart time or whatever. And I'm like, who is that brunette? Because Sarah has red hair. Like, what is going on?
And it was just me being faithful to my girlfriend, just taking the Lord's Supper. Here I am, righteous in the eyes of the Lord.
And then afterwards, you all came toward me together, and I'm like, okay.
Two of them.
Let's get talking. Tell me more.
I want to curve-tail back into something about the Prince of Egypt. I'm noticing anytime we bring it up, people are in love with it. People talk about it. This is an older movie, but it really resonated with Christian audiences. I want to point out the nature of Prince of Egypt almost no one on that project were Christians. Almost no one. The director's not, the writers, as far as I know, they're working with major mega industry. Disney's a part of this. DreamWorks is a part of this. One of the reasons why this has really resonated with Christian audiences, I think it is not bashful at all in its attempt to be epic. It doesn't shy away from trying to be powerful. And so there's something about the nature of Prince of Egypt that whenever you see Moses get carried up in a tornado inside of a cave and God's speaking to him and it's remove your sandals, you're on holy ground. And it's the vastness and the epicness of it. It's so cool to get to see, man, real Christians love that project because real faith is in that project. Even if the people making it don't realize this epicness, this creativity. And one of the real reasons why I'm so excited that we have you on, Kristen, and why we have this song that you made for us is it's doing the same thing. Caleb mentioned, man, what's it like, this creative process to go in and to make this? And one of the things that is the coolest thing for me is that Caleb can't sing almost at all. Wow. I can't sing almost at all. But let me tell you this. Whenever you talk about being divinely inspired, I've watched my brother edit. I've watched him do visual effects. I've watched his cinematography. That is the same spirit as you're singing. Whenever I sit down and I go to write a scene and I go, whoa, it was like I watched a movie play out in front of me where I'm not really the one dictating this scene and some of the things that Samuel says and the power of David. And I send it to Caleb and he calls me crying. Just can't believe what's happening. I can't sing necessarily, but I'm creating with the same spirit. That spirit is in all of us. And what happens whenever you get a group of 50 people together that all have this same excellent spirit to create under that, allowing God to have that authority, I think you end up with David at King's Calling. So head on over, donate, follow the group, follow what we're doing, because as this continues to come together and as the performances on set come together, that same spirit that you're seeing from Kristen, where you go, imagine being that talented. Guess what? Jesus's people are full of it. Not necessarily singing, right, Kristen? You see what I'm saying?
Yes. He's given us all something. And I think what's cool about it too, with the kind of collaboration that you guys are doing, it is intensified and enhanced by a collaborative effort. Because if it were just, we can enjoy just writing or just singing or just cinematography or videography, but once you blend those together, the impact of what it does is just phenomenal. And I think it really is true that it really is better together. Like what people are able to pull from it and what God is able to do through it is really exciting. So
that's right. Yeah. I mean, we see in the Bible that it says, don't forsake the gathering of the brothers. Don't forsake getting together as a church family. One, it's because it's faith building. And two, it's exactly what you're saying. One can put 1,000 to flight. Two can put 10,000 to flight. Our work is better together.
Yeah.
I want to say too, I think that there's something really interesting about something coming from nothing. I was kind of talking to Kyler about this the other day, where it was like, Kyler and I were having this conversation about David and we want to tell this story. And then we have a conversation with Kristen and now this song is here and it wasn't before. And just the sort of beauty of that. And I know it sounds very simplistic, but when people come together to experience God in our worship and just submit to him what we have to offer, there are these things that I think that can happen, this byproduct of either our love for one another or our love for the Bible or love for Jesus. And we can really leave these things behind in our wake where, for me, maybe it's, on top of my family and the discipleship, it's some of these film projects where I pass away and years from now, my great grandkids watch this and they know stuff about me. They can hear what was my heart. And it reminds me of kind of the Psalms, right? It reminds me of man, we get to jump back into David's heart and his mind and understand fully where he was at, and what it's like we're looking at fossils, right? Like these things that show us. And I think about this song that wasn't here and now it's here. Mm-hmm. And this Look on the Heart song that I think so many, specifically young men, need to hear this.
Yes.
That God is saying, listen, I understand. You're gonna make mistakes. I understand you're not perfect. Mm-hmm. But look, I knew you weren't going to be perfect, and I still chose you. Mm-hmm. And the relief of shame, the shame that gets broken off when we submit ourselves to God and say, man, you still love me. I must be worth something. I'm going to keep going. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep doing. And, you know, I think that there's this powerful, there's this powerful nature and this power behind making Christian art, where it causes you walk into a chapel and you look up and you go, how many hours do you think someone spent on their back on scaffolding and just carpal tunnel inducing, just it's mesmerizing. Yeah. I think that's too. I listen to this song on repeat. I haven't heard the same. I haven't got used to it, and I haven't heard the same thing yet. Yep. Listening to the song, I pick out these different. But the part I have to say, from pastures to a prince now rise. Yeah. Walk me through that line, because when I heard it, I literally hit pause and I screamed and I fell on the floor.
I paused as well. I also paused. So this is a moment in the song that means something to Christians. And I want to say something too, but Kristen, please tell us.
Yeah. So I think from pasture to a prince now rise just talks about how it speaks to the fact that God elevates the humble and humbles the proud. And because he looks at the heart, he looks at things that other people don't. And so it's up to God who he wants to use. He can use whomever he wants, however he wants. And this idea of being able to raise the humble is all through scripture. And I mean, this is from a God who sent Jesus, who was born as a baby and in a manger. And so I love, of course, you know, born in the line of David. It's like this introduction of just how the kingdom is inverted and different from this world. And we see that, you know, from David. Here's the guy that everyone else passed over, that God's like, no, this is the guy. And I love that. I mean, like I said, I'm from a small town in Southern Illinois, and whatever we have, you know, whatever God's given us, it doesn't matter about the location. What matters is our posture, you know, our posture. And you see that with David, the posture of his heart is what mattered, and God elevated him, and God decides. So yeah, it's just this idea where, and of course he chose David way back when, and he had a journey, he had a path for sure before he was king. But when God spoke it, it was true, and he had to walk it out until he actually, you know, was in that role. But I love that God confounds the wise with foolish things. I love that God does this, you know, takes people that seem lowly or of low estate, and then he does things that just blow our minds, where you say that could only be God, you know. And so it's cool. I think that's what that whole from pasture to a prince, that when God says it's time, your star's rising. You're going to do what he asks you to do. You're going to fulfill the calling that he had on your life, and all the other things that happened, and all the time that it took, and all of that stuff, like, suddenly doesn't matter anymore, because when God speaks and he says it's time, it's time. And I think that's cool.
Hey, that's
Tyler, you wanted to follow up.
Yeah, that's such a good note, even for this project. When God says it's time, it's time. And Caleb and I are pushing, and we want this thing to happen, and we want for people to get on board. We want to make the right connections. My brother and I are from a very small town. Actually, the town that we lived in whenever we were growing up had the smallest U.S. post office in the United States of America. It is a town. I'm not joking you. Here's where my brother and I were raised. Muddy, Illinois. Muddy, Muddy, town of 700 people. We had to drive just to get somewhere. We're from a background. Our parents are very blue collar. My mom's a registered nurse. My dad was a heavy machinery operator. Whenever you talk about two brothers trying to break in and make a film that's going to impact the world, that's going to impact Christians, it is not the Cook twins you're talking about. We are from a place where when a car started driving down the road, it was exciting because it was probably somebody you knew. I'm talking, we are from the smallest of the small, no name, no family lineage. And yet right now we're trying to make something significant, not because, it's this desire for celebrity or for attention. It's all about the story. It's all this desire that we would make much of God. The pasture to a prince now rise. One of the things, I love it, Steve. One of the things that really resonates with me is David is not the king that represents Jesus Christ without tending to the flock. Some of us feel like the work I feel like I'm doing right now is so pointless. And what Jesus is saying to you is, are you being excellent? One of the things that Caleb and I really love about our perspective on David is he's not unwillingly watching the sheep. His brothers don't want the job. David wants the work. And his brothers are going, why is he all... David, by the way, is a third generation descendant of Boaz, who was very wealthy. And then it goes Obed, who was very wealthy, and Jesse, who was very wealthy. They have servants around. Where is David? He's out working, tending to the sheep. He didn't need to be, or at least that's the perspective that Caleb and I like to take on this. Is this isn't necessarily that Jesse was just on hard times and had to send the youngest out there. We really think David loved to watch over helpless things, pointing to, here's the king to come, a king that loves to watch over Israel. It's not a duty to him. It's not something that he has to do. It's as interwoven with David's person as anything else. Absolutely, Gene. God was, from the moment that David was born, was putting a desire on his heart to protect those that could not protect themselves. Even though he wasn't a full-grown man, we see him face down Goliath. Where does that come from? Well, we see from the scripture, it came from the field, came from the pasture. Whenever beasts would come up, David would kill them with his bare hands, because from a child, got to put this marker on him. You're going to protect innocent and things that can't protect themselves.
Got a video I want to play after that statement. We've shown this in the past. Our take on David is gritty. Our take on him is God anoints him. He's pouring out his power on this kid. He's filling him with his anointing. It literally says that at that point he anointed him and God never left him. And we've got a different approach on the visual for this. There's the plucky kid kind of out in the field and things just happening to him, but we believe that God has created this young man. And so I'm just going to play this really quickly. I mean, it's intense stuff. God comes to Samuel and says, I've withdrawn my spirit. Go to the house of Jesse. I've chosen another. And he's catching these glimpses, these images of this young boy. We've put together a short teaser. We've got a longer format teaser we're going to be putting out here in the next couple of weeks. Kyle, you mind if I show that real quick?
You want to show it? I don't know if the people want to see it. Maybe.
a little teaser. We've got more on that
Epic.
coming real soon, really soon.
Oh, it's going to be. I've seen
the
it.
voice
I've
you
seen
heard
what
there,
my brother's doing.
Steve playing the prophet Samuel was so great and gracious to work with us on the phone there. I mean, the cast that we're putting together for this is, I think, an incredible display of tons of just skill and quality. And that's one of the things that I was going to say is, Kristen, there's the heart posture, there's having the right heart, but then there's really putting the time in and investing, like David with his sling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, he could have had the right heart and been terrible at defending the flock.
Mm-hmm.
I think it requires diligence and passion and like real intrigue to perfect what God has put inside of you. And I know, man, you wouldn't be here if it weren't for the years of worship that you have that you've put yourself out there to practice, to be used by God. You wouldn't be here if you didn't take those lessons. I remember when you first picked up a guitar. I remember those first few sessions of you plucking through on those chords. You got your G, you got your D, and just watching you perform in that video, I realized, wow, there's a lot of growth happening here. There's a persistence and a diligence. And we're seeing that with some of these actors. We put a video out on our page, on our group. If you aren't a part of our group, come join the David community group with Leilani Diamond, just showing some of her skill set, one of the younger sisters of David coming up. And we're really interested in getting the most high quality individuals a part of this project. And I can say, just even having you put your hand to this has been absolutely incredible. 2 minutes left. I want to make sure that we have some time to questions and stuff. If you all have any questions you guys would like to ask, I see. I recognize that voice. It's Steve. That's right. Any questions before we go? We've had 2 donations. Thank you.
She is absolutely talented. Can Kristen Bryant act one too? I need some twin bolts.
Interesting.
Okay, we'll be in touch.
Interesting. I need some twin bolt swag.
Kristen, can you
act?
Are
talking about that.
Is that a thing? What do you think?
I mean, I have before.
Oh no, that's not what you say to us.
No, never.
Never.
Crazy.
Okay, good. We won't ask you to do anything. Any questions? Any questions in the chat? We want to have a brand where we are communicating with the audience, answering any questions, anything at all. You have a free stay here in the PA. Sarah Beth coming through. Anyone can stay with Sarah Beth for free.
I'm in.
All right, guys. Well, let's end with, you just want to first off, I just want to say thank you, Kristen. Thank you for adding your lens, your perspective, your worshipful heart. I feel like you've already elevated this project to a place where when I listen to this song, I go, how can this not be made? How can this not happen? And I think that comes with just God's anointing and just feeling God's sort of reinforcing and power that has come through. And so, I'm interested in playing this song down one more time. Anything that you want to say?
I just want to say thank you all so much for inviting me, asking me to write the song and be a part of it and kind of dive into David and feel like I kind of got to hear God speaking through it and get to share and be musical and the whole thing, and for getting to chat with you guys tonight. It's so fun and I'm on board and fully supportive. I'm excited to see everything come together as well. So I really appreciate getting to be a part of it. Thank y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say to end that this is what is joy in Christian creativity, is coming together and collaborating and creating moments where you just get that sense that God is so close because of the caliber and the level and the hearing God in the midst of it. And so thank you for sharing your talent with us and making this fun, Kristen.
We love you so much, sister.
Love you guys.
It means so much to have you a part of this. Yeah, I say we played just really quick. I've seen a couple of questions. We're going to be filming this in central Pennsylvania. We got a farm, about 500 acres, a guy with about 400 head of sheep is going to be helping us out. The direction you'll be going in with Goliath, stay tuned. We've got a whole live stream dedicated, I think, to telling that story. I am absolutely enthralled with the story that Kyler has run with on that front. And I think that Goliath is going to have a big part in, the series.
Can I tease a little bit?
Sure. What do you got?
We got some flashbacks to Goliath whenever he was a child and whenever he was a teenager. And so we're going to get to see a little bit of what created the monster that God used to glorify himself. And it is probably not what you would think. So we're taking a little hint out of Dallas Jenkins' playbook to bring that to you.
Awesome.
All righty. Let's play this song out. If you get the chance, please like and share and let people know about the stream that we've got going on. If you get the chance, go to the donation link that we'll be providing in the comments section. And please stick around and watch this final performance from Kristen Bryant, the second time that we're going to see and hear Look on the Heart. Thank you, Kristen.
Ooh, 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 My spirit hovered over the face of the deep in the beginning, when it was just us three. My spirit moved at the moment you were made, deep in the womb's secret shade. I knew the sum of all your days, Menzies' appearance and frame, but I know who honors my name. I look on the heart. It's my joy to make a king of a shepherd boy when no one else can see. You chase after me with all you are. You're my choice, I look on the heart. Ooh, ooh. To me you run, and in me is your boast. And when it matters the most, you find the shadow of my wings. To me you run when you fail after you've tried, when you confess and do not hide. I bottle up each tear you've cried. Men sees mere deeds and actions, but I know each heart's motivations. Ooh, I look on the heart. It's my joy to make a king of a shepherd boy when no one else can see. You chase after me with all you are. You're my choice, I like a king of a shepherd boy when no one else can see. You chase after me with all you are. You're my choice, I look on the heart.